Hi everyone.
Greetings.
We're in the Proclaimer's book. We're on page 85 at the subheading, A Bunch of Hijackers. It starts, a strong force of opposition came from certain Catholic action groups. On October 2nd, 1938, Brother Rutherford was straightforward in delivering the lecture, Fascism or Freedom, which later appeared in booklet form and was distributed by the millions. Brother Rutherford, in this speech, detailed a number of incidents of unlawful acts to demonstrate collusion between certain public officials and representatives of the Roman Catholic Church.
After presenting the facts, Rutherford noted, when the people are told the facts about a crowd that is operating under a religious cloak to steal their rights, the hierarchy howls and says, lies, put a gag in the mouths of those who do not permit them to speak. And let me read that again. Lies, put a gag in the mouths of those and do not permit them to speak. Then he asked, is it wrong to publish the truth concerning a bunch of hijackers that are robbing the people? No. Shall honest men be gagged and compelled to remain silent while this bunch of hijackers destroy the liberties of the people? Above all, shall the people be denied their God-given privileges of peaceable assembly and freedom of worship of Almighty God and freedom of speech concerning His kingdom and those who oppose it?
Following this stinging rebuke, opposition continued from Catholic action groups across the United States. Jehovah's Witnesses waged legal battles for freedom of worship and their right to proclaim God's kingdom. But the situation only worsened as the world went to war. Legal restrictions and imprisonment also came upon Jehovah's Witnesses in country after country in Europe, Africa, and Asia.
Well, one literally wants to gag on this quote from Rutherford. He's criticizing people who steal your freedom of speech and rob you of the rights you're given by law.
And the Watchtower has put this in a book to highlight that this is how courageous and wonderful they are, that they fight for freedom. Well, I'm sorry, but they only fight for their own freedom of speech. Because if someone who loves truth finds out facts about the Watchtower and speaks about them, they're just telling the facts, they are gagged. They're kicked out and told, their people are told, don't talk to them, don't listen to them. That's gagging people. Face your critics and address what they're talking about.
And that's, at least you can say that for Russell in his day. He had public debates with people who disagreed with him. Not too many, but a few. Rutherford retreated behind his self-righteousness. And I can't help but think of that cliche about boxers. Really, it applies to more than boxers, but especially to boxers, that the best defense is a good offense. And there's nobody more offensive than J.F. Rutherford. And I think he's wise, though, in his own way. He, under criticism, constant criticism from 1917 to this time, 1938, constant criticism from Christendom and even from governments, he
just turned the gun around. Started shooting at them.
And therefore he's wise in a worldly way. But was he Christian? No, because of course as soon as they get power, the Watchtower that is, back then there were only 60,000 of them. Now there's 100 times as many.
So when he says, shall honest men be gagged and compelled to remain silent, well, your assumption is that anyone who opposes the Watchtower or leaves the Watchtower is not an honest man, because that's not the way you treat them.
No. So what's for me unforgivable about Rutherford, and I can forgive his boldness. I think in a way you could credit him with some degree of chutzpah and courage, but it's his tone. It's the vituperation in his tone, the vicious way he deals with opposition and criticism.
And the slandering of people. He was guilty of slandering people.
So when
questioning motives.
Yeah, and they're still, of course, they still do that by branding everybody apostates. One thing you can say for the Rutherford era, though, they didn't yet have the power to disfellowship as they do today.
Yeah.
That came in quite a bit later.
Yeah.
But this equation of what they're doing with preaching the kingdom, that's what galls me over and over again here. Their right to proclaim God's kingdom. They wanted the freedom to, but they're not proclaiming God's kingdom. As the
this is a picture on the page after, 87, I guess it is. So I don't know. You can see the big phonograph there, but up in the corner there's a car with the speaker phones, you know, so that they can blare out, and people bringing a record player.
And the headline is "Preaching with Phonographs." But what were they preaching? Here's the first paragraph on that page. In 1933, Jehovah's Witnesses began to employ another innovative method of preaching. A transportable transcription machine with an amplifier and loudspeaker was used to broadcast what? 33 1/3 RPM recordings of Brother Rutherford's radio lectures in halls, parks, and other public places. Sound cars and sound boats were also used to let the kingdom message ring out.
Yeah.
And they have a picture of a boat going up the Thames River in London.
I was surprised at that one. And then they had the one with the car with the speaker. It says, "With a sound car on a hilltop, the kingdom message could be heard miles away." What, you know, like now, you could never do this. You'd be charged with disturbing the peace.
We're back to,
at the very least, this has the potential of being very annoying to people, rather than pulling them in. It's not wise.
It's not wise, and the very fact that they record at the end of the second paragraph on this page with the phonographs that they ceased to do that. They phased it out. Well, why did you phase it out? Yeah. You were getting a lot of promotion from this, not only for Rutherford, but you were being arrested for Sabbath violation and for disturbing the peace, among other things.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of publicity out of this. So why did you phase it out? Well, I think saner heads prevailed in the 1940s after Rutherford died. A good businessman, Nathan Knorr, came in and saw that there was actually a more effective way of doing this so-called kingdom preaching you're doing. And I can't help but think of this text. This is Isaiah 42, where it talks about the Messiah and how he would go about things. And the contrast is so marked. It says about Messiah, "Behold my servant whom I uphold, my chosen, in whom my spirit or my soul delights," is the text. "I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations." And note this verse, verse 2. "He will not cry aloud or lift up his voice or make it heard in the street. A bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench." Well, that's the very opposite of the style of a J.F. Rutherford.
Yeah, yeah.
And yet they're boasting about it and spending a lot of money to publish books that publicize these, what they called kingdom preaching episodes.
So anytime they do something, it's okay, it's good. But when someone else does even anything that resembles theirs, like I always remember seeing those signs with the placards that religion is a snare and a racket. And where did they do that? In front of churches. That's where they went with these signs. Now we went, in our early days, out of the Watchtower, when you do feel gagged and nobody will talk to you and you don't know anybody, and you want to reach your loved ones. You want them to at least know what you know, what you've discovered, but you have no means of telling them because they're not allowed to talk to you. So we would go down to the convention and hold up signs with a small number. We were only a dozen or so people. And we would stand with a sign. But we made a point of not being right on their side. We went to the other side so that the signs could be seen. And we didn't call out or heckle or do anything like that. And we told all the people with us,
there was maybe 24 people.
This is a quiet, loving demonstration. We're not going to cause any trouble. We just want them to see the message that we You know, things we discovered. So we had different signs. One of them said, "We love Jehovah's Witnesses."
When the newspapers asked us what we were doing, and the Toronto Star and the Toronto Sun both showed up to interview some of us, we didn't want to call it a picketing, or we didn't want to call it a protest. We called it a demonstration of love.
Yes.
So then we have to behave ourselves, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's just, that's the wiser way anyways. Be loving. Do what you would want done.
Well,
I would, like if we did nothing, I felt like, well, then we are giving evidence we don't care. We have to do something.
And that's playing into the hands of the publicity that says everybody who leaves Jehovah's Witnesses, they just fade away.
They don't care. No, we care. We love Jehovah's Witnesses.
But you don't make yourself...
We want to reach them.
You don't make yourself a public nuisance. And I think that in those days, I know how I would feel if a sound car showed up anywhere near the park I was resting in.
Yeah.
Or the church I was worshiping in.
Yeah.
Now, the witnesses, you know what would happen if sound cars from Presbyterian churches around the corner showed up outside the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah, they would not be happy. And you would be driving people away. You wouldn't be attracting people by doing something like that.
I remember we also did some outreach to the district assemblies in the year or two after we left, and there you basically are limited to, you can't go inside. They'll definitely stop you. And it happened to me when I tried to go inside one of their district assemblies.
With nothing, like you didn't have signs or
I didn't even have a sign.
Or
I was just stopped. Because they knew who I was.
Yeah.
But when we did the district assemblies, all we would try to do is go around the parking lot and leave a tract in the window wiper.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to do. It was a way of saying we do care.
Yeah.
But that's all they allow you to do. Let's face it.
Yeah. Well, they weren't even allowing that. They had people going around
picking them off. Yeah.
Picking them off.
So there's freedom of speech for you.
Yeah.
What's our link? Well, it's based on this book, Enemies, that they just talked about on page 84. In that book, there's a little-known false prophecy of J.F. Rutherford, and it's about the same subject that they bring up here in paragraph 1, a bunch of hijackers, about fascism or freedom. He boldly said in the book Enemies that both the United Kingdom and the United States would be overrun by Nazis, fascists, and at the back of the Nazis and fascists would be a Catholic plot to take back what they'd lost at the Reformation. So obviously J.F. Rutherford was proved wrong. That's not the outcome of World War II. So that link is on your screen.
Okay.
See you soon.
Bye.